And it's dark and gloomy today, and if that's not a mood, I don't know what is. Hi, I'm Maria and this is Oz Costumes. Some of you may remember a video I made a while ago talking about our favorite con memories, and I really encourage you to watch. I don't know where the card's going up here. Especially if you want some positivity, considering that 2020 has been a hot trash dumpster fire. But anyway, as there is opposition in all things, I thought it would be a good idea, maybe, to talk about con horror stories. I went on Instagram and I asked you guys what your con horror stories are. There were quite a few responses, so I'm gonna read them and then I'm gonna share a couple of my own. There's a subject that's gonna come up later that I wanna get a little bit more on the serious side of, so stay tuned for that. Sophie Needs Coffee said, I don't know if it counts, but my keys got locked in my trunk at the hotel and I had to call AAA to unlock my car. I hope you look back on this and you laugh, because sometimes we just gotta laugh at things like that. I mean, this didn't happen at a con, but one time my dog locked us out of our house. Ash Allred 12 says, I don't have a specific story I want to share, but I'm sure everyone can share this sentiment. Bad hotel roommates. If you have any of those stories, feel free to share them down below. Monochrome Flower said, at Ichiban Con 2014, a group of cosplayers broke bathroom stalls and spray painted them. This is why we can't have nice things. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce the screen name right, but here we go. Leo, I'm just going to call you Leo. Okay, Leo said, a friend of theirs was wondering why everyone was staring at her for an hour. It turns out her wig came off without her noticing. Again, I hope you laugh about this now. Camila Nisco said, it was one of my first years cosplaying Len Kagamine. I was naive and duct taped my chest for over 10 hours. I had my sister help me take it off when we got home and got horrible blisters. Oh. If you plan on binding for a cosplay, please don't use duct tape. It's a great idea to invest in a binder, not just ace bandages, but an actual binder. Yes, please. Dazai frickin' Furby Worm says, not super bad, but we took a break to get food and some woman grabbed my shoulder, looked at me up and down and said, I hope that's a costume, before walking out of the store we were in. I was cosplaying Emma from The Promised Neverland. Even though that's quote not that bad, that's still really creepy. Snowstorm Spirit said, Otakon 2014 trainer cosplayers threw hard Pokeball at me/others. We all had varying injuries from it. The people injured were Pokemon cosplayers, and now hard Pokeballs are banned at Otakon. Seriously, common sense. Why don't people ever... Oh my gosh. So these next few con horror stories involve what the cosplay community refers to as con creepers. Just to double check, triple check, because that's what I do. Talk to these people individually and ask them if they were comfortable with me sharing these stories with you, and some of them actually expanded on those stories. So let's get into this. Ghostly Cosplay said, in 2018, my friend was going through drama with a friend of theirs at the time. That friend I wasn't friends with, but they threatened to physically bite my arm. Don't bite people. Rose's Bad Habit said, this random old guy just walked up to me, I was in a Madoka cosplay, and snapped a pic. I mean, I should have been ready for people like that, but it was my first con, so... You are not at fault because it was your first con. You are not at fault if you were younger at the time. It's completely on that old guy for being creepy, quite frankly. It's usually common courtesy, if you want a picture of a cosplayer, to walk up to them, ask permission for their photo, and if they say yes, take a photo, thank them, walk away, etc., etc. You don't just walk up to them and take a photo without saying anything. And that's just like common courtesy in general. Say you're at the park or something, would you just walk up to a random stranger and take a picture of them and then walk off? No, you wouldn't. Why would you do it at a con? So this person asked to remain anonymous, so I will honor that. But they said, my friend who I was in charge of was picked up onto a grown man's shoulder. Pure terror. So I was the one taking all my friends. They were all new to cons, and I was the only one who had experience. We were in maybe the 7th or 8th grade. We were walking around the lobby, and a husband/wife couple recognized my friend's cosplay and were chatting with us. The man was over 6 foot and pretty muscular. We were like 13, and all of a sudden, the dude picks up my friend and puts them on his shoulders. I start panicking because I was in charge of my friends and hecka confused. He seemed to just be goofing around, but for a bunch of young teenagers, it was pretty scary. After him prancing around for a bit, he finally put my friend down. Most awkward and panicked few moments of my con life. Even more weird was that his wife seemed to not be fazed by it. I looked at her for help and she just kind of awkwardly smiled. Even if he meant no harm, it was incredibly inappropriate and uncomfortable. Absolutely. These kids were 13. That's not okay. You don't just randomly pick up people you just met. Like, I think the whole theme, the moral of the story for this whole video is exercise your common sense. But, you know, I'm beginning to think common sense is rare, which is unfortunate. Small Giggle said, someone followed me across the entire convention center, took pics, and tried to grab me at Anime Expo. Oh gosh, I hate this so much. LA's already scary enough as it is. No. Okay, I'm going to mispronounce the screen name. Calmared10 said, told a guy I was 15 so he'd stop hitting on me. He told me age was just a number. He was 23. I was 17. Stop! To add to it, the guy also told me that I was old enough that I should be able to make my own decisions. In this next part, he was basically trying to touch her inappropriately while she was sitting and playing her 3DS with her friends. And then one of my friends tried to get him to stop too, but he just ignored her. I was mostly oblivious because I was enjoying my game, but later he begged for my phone number, so I gave it to him to get him to leave us alone, and he wouldn't stop texting me. Eventually, I blocked him and was able to enjoy the con with my friends after. This guy is disgusting. And again, I just want to reiterate, absolutely not her fault at all. It was 100% this guy's fault for thinking it was okay to hit on somebody underage. Let me talk about a couple of my con horror stories. It was a while ago. It was a long time ago. So I was cosplaying Emile Castagnier from Tales of Symphonia 2. I walked into a room. I heard people scream, and then these two people ran up to me. One was a guy, one was a girl, and they immediately started to pull my arms. One person was on one arm and the other person was on the other arm, and they started to pull my arms, and they were saying things like, oh my gosh, he's mine, like, and it was a while ago, so my memory is a little bit muddled, but they were saying, I distinctly remember, he's mine, oh my gosh, no, he's mine, and then the other person was like, I effed him last night, and they didn't use the abbreviation. Yeah, I was uncomfortable throughout the entire thing, and just so you guys know, when I get nervous or anxious, especially in situations involving other people, I'm sort of like Shinra from Fire Force, where I like smile like this. And at one point they tackled me to the ground, and I like was in pain at one point, and yeah. So I want to talk about con creepers and dealing with con creepers, because unfortunately it happens. When I asked you guys on Instagram, some of you had really awesome advice, and I 100% believe that multiple input, multiple brains working together on one question is a great way to get as much information and the best advice possible. So hopefully some of you guys watching this can pull what means the most to you. Luca Megarune V2 said, most people will pretend to be your friend if you walk up and say you're feeling creeped on. I'm not going to pronounce this right, but Va-Fer-Su said, as soon as you notice someone from the con following you back to your hotel, find someone else and go to literally anywhere else. Don't assume you will be safe in your room. If something like that happens, go into the closest building or make sure you are with another human being and make sure that the authorities are called. Valda Valsha said, hey, Valda Valsha also does YouTube. You should subscribe to her. Doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. Don't be afraid to be blunt if you are uncomfortable and leave. All genders are able to be victims and all genders are able to be the aggressors. So it doesn't matter who they are. Okay, I am definitely gonna mispronounce your screen name and that's just the theme. I'm gonna mispronounce everything. Okay, so Diaz de Beja. They said, when creeps usually ask for a picture and their go-to is to touch you or wrap their arm around you, what I do to avoid these situations is before they stand next to you and you're in a cosplay, throw in a quick pose that your character might do so they don't feel the need to wrap their arm around you. It's scary to push someone away because you don't know how they'll react. So that's a good way to avoid them standing too close. The Pope of Aesthetics says, don't be afraid to challenge somebody that is being a creep. Most creeps cower at opposition. Camila Nisco said, I make sure I go to an event with someone I can contact throughout in case of sketchy situations. It's very, very important that you let somebody know at all times where you are, what you're doing, and how long you'll be gone-ish. Ghostly Cosplay says, try to ignore them. Some will eventually leave you alone. If not, find a friend, friends, or con staff. Ash Allred also had some advice to give, and this was her advice. The more confident I've been, the less issues I've had with creeps. I know it's really easy to say, especially as an extrovert, but while I wore a bunny suit to Sabo, I actually had zero issues. I always stand tall and make eye contact because I have absolutely zero issues causing a scene. If someone is a creep or anything, I'm calling them out on it in front of everyone. That being said, not everyone has the confidence or personality for that. If you're uncomfortable with a creep, especially if you're alone, I suggest finding a larger group of cosplayers and acting like you know them. Maybe ask one for a hug and whisper that you're dealing with a creep and if they can help you or something like that. I've taken people into my group before because of that. Don't be afraid to be rude. You're not being rude if it's for your own safety, and be blunt and straightforward about it. And I think being with people and being aware of your surroundings and asking for help is probably the best way to deal with con creeps. Don't let this scare you. Cons are, in general, are a great positive place. A majority of people at cons are good people, and we're really just all nerds in one room. And if you liked that video and are interested in more cosplay related content, click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Don't forget to hit like on this video. Leave a comment down below telling me what your con horror story was, or what you think is the best way to deal with con creeps. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and I will see you in the next video. This is such a little... You caused so much trouble.